In this episode, I give you my take on Paul George to the 76ers and Chris Paul to the Spurs, plus a review on the ESPN Plus original series up for debate, The Evolution of Sports Media. Episode 36 of N1 from the End Zone starts now. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to take a moment to thank all my subscribers as we continue to grow. We have now surpassed over 500 subscribers. I appreciate all the love and support and genuinely hope you are enjoying this content. Please don't forget to leave a comment on the video as I want to know your thoughts and ideas for things I should discuss in the End Zone. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, first things first, PG-13 to the 76ers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. Paul George signed with the Philadelphia 76ers for 4 years, $212 million. This was honestly a smart move for PG as he gets the contract he was looking for and goes to a legit title contender next year in the East. For the 76ers, they got a bona fide star in the league who was able to remain healthy for most of the year last year and put up decent numbers. George averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists on 47% from the field and 41% from three. He still plays defense. At the very least, they have 2 years to capitalize and win a championship with PG on the roster. He just turned 34 last month, and I believe he can still put up the same numbers he put up this past year for the next 2 years, realistically. By the time he's 37, and if they haven't won a championship, I wouldn't be surprised if PG would be on the move. But again, the next 2 years will be big for the Sixers as they now have another big three after the Harden move. I do believe this version of the Sixers big three is better than the Harden version. Maxey is still young and getting better and is a great running mate for Embiid. And last year he proved it. Of course, the biggest question is going to be health, but who knows? Maybe this can be the year Embiid stays healthy heading into the postseason. Highly unlikely, but who knows? Last year, AD was able to do the same thing. Let's also congratulate Tyrese Maxey, who has agreed in principle to a 5-year, $204 million deal. The future is genuinely bright for Maxey, and I'm looking forward to see what his career develops into. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspin's Barbershop located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to CP3 to the Spurs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Paul was waived by the Warriors yesterday, and within a few hours, he was signed to the Spurs for a 1-year, $11 million deal. This is honestly a perfect fit for CP3 because he's proven to work best with the young roster that has no expectations. He's done it multiple times throughout his career since leaving the Clippers. When he joined the Rockets in the 2 years that he was there, he gave the dynastic Warriors a run for their money before he got injured. When the Rockets traded him to the Thunder, he helped them get to the 5th seed in the West and almost got them into the second round of the playoffs, losing Game 7 by 2 points. By 2 points, ladies and gentlemen. That Thunder team had no reason being that good that quickly other than CP3 being on that roster and knowing how to show the young guys win. The moment they moved off of him, the following season, they went back to being a rebuilding franchise and with a 22-50 record. Let's also not forget what he did for that Suns organization down in Phoenix. When he joined that team, they hadn't made the playoffs in over 10 years, and in his first season there, they made the NBA Finals. They hadn't made it to the NBA Finals since 1993. Yeah, I understand they didn't win it, but from 2010 to 2020, they only had a record above 500 once, and no one thought that the Suns were a real competing organization until CP3 was there. CP3 helped stabilize that franchise, and I understand Chris Paul with the Warriors didn't work out, or maybe it did. When we look at it from the perspective that the Warriors didn't even make the playoffs, yeah, of course it didn't work. But when Paul was on the floor with the young guys like Pods, Trace, and Kuminga, it worked to an extent. He helped the young guys gain confidence on the floor, but the issue with the Warriors was that this was always Steph and Draymond's team. And that diminishes what CP3 can do for you on the floor or for the team in general. I never understood why the Warriors acquired him if it wasn't to move him for an asset that could help Steph, Klay, and Draymond. Chris Paul, with the way the roster was built last season for the Warriors, it was never going to work. Now, with Chris Paul joining Wembanyama and Greg Popovich, guys, that pick and roll is going to be lethal. Wemby's game is only going to get better heading into his second year in the league, and having a point guard like Chris Paul, who has a track record of helping young teams learn how to win, the future for the Spurs looks bright, especially when you have a legendary Hall of Fame head coach like Greg Popovich to help guide the way, guys. Moving on to the latest on the Klay Thompson situation. Klay Thompson is headed to the Dallas Mavericks. Today is a very sad day for the Golden State Warriors and the fan base. Klay Thompson is joining Luka and Kyrie out in Dallas. The deal is a 3-team sign and trade deal that includes the Charlotte Hornets. Klay is signing a 3-year, $50 million deal with the Mavericks with the player option in year 3. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, as a Warriors fan, I'm fucking pissed. We offered Klay a 2-year, $24 million deal worth $48 million. He wanted an extra year on his deal that would have most likely ended when Draymond's contract ended. You're telling me Mike Dunleavy couldn't make that deal to keep Klay with the team next year or for the next 3 years, have the core guys retire together? Are you fucking kidding me? Really? Yes, it's a sign and trade deal, so we are getting something in return. But as of yet, we really don't know what the fuck that is. We failed to get PG-13. We released CP3, which made sense. But how is the team going to get better from here on out? Are we seriously going to keep Wiggins on the roster now after 2 seasons after winning the championship? He's taken a step back. While Klay, who, yes, has diminished, has still put up better numbers and has been consistently on the floor for the Warriors. Like, Klay has been a vital part to winning championships here in Golden State. And if there wasn't any pressure on Mike Dunleavy before, there sure as hell is pressure now. He broke up the Warriors championship winning core, and although his draft picks were a success last season, they aren't ready to help Steph and Draymond win the title this year or next year. Plus, the moves he made last year, one could say, were laughable because it never made any basketball sense when it came to winning a title. Let me calm down. Oof, this one hurts. As an unbiased basketball fan, for Klay and the Mavericks, this is a great fit for both sides. Luka and Kyrie both demand a lot of attention and have exceptional ball handling and scoring skills. You add Klay Thompson to that mix, who still averaged 18 points per game last year on 43.5% shooting and 39% from 3. He also played 77 games last year, so you can rely on him being on the court. Yeah, the Mavs got better with this move, especially because they still have young guys like Derek Lively, who in year 2 could get even better, plus Gafford and other pieces that helped them reach the finals this past season. As an unbiased basketball fan, ladies and gentlemen, the Mavs next season are a top 3 title contending team, in my opinion, alongside the reigning defending champions, the Boston Celtics, and last year's champions, the Denver Nuggets. For me, it goes Celtics, Denver, then the Mavs. But the Mavs and Nuggets are a lot closer to each other than anybody is to the Celtics. Celtics is on a tier of their own, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the ESPN Plus original series Up for Debate. I genuinely loved the series, and I think if you haven't watched it, you're genuinely missing out if you're a sports fan. This 3-part series, with an average watch time about 30 minutes per episode, covers the evolution of sports media from its newspaper roots to what the media coverage is today on television and the internet. The series was produced by Religion of Sports and Mr. SAS Productions, and it also features a number of sports personalities, including Shannon Sharpe, Troy Aikman, Michael Wilbon, Molly Karam, Nina Kimes, and Mr. SAS himself, Stephen A. Smith. The first episode was titled It Was Written, begins with Stephen A. talking about the world of sports media today, while looking back at its origins from print journalism to sports personalities like the legendary Howard Cosell, and eventually evolving to the debate format that is widely popular today. You get to see clips from the launch of ESPN in 1979, a young Skip Bayless and Tony Kornheiser from the Sports Reporters TV program that launched in 1988, You hear words from the legendary Mad Dog Russo when he talks about the launch of WFAN radio and how sports radio played a role in the evolution of sports media. I enjoyed all the clips. I respect how they portrayed Howard Cosell, who commanded the respect of Muhammad Ali when he was speaking about his issues in the 1960s and why he didn't go to the war. And guys, it introduces you, or you see the origins of Skip, of Tony Kornheiser, of Michael Wilbon, and Mad Dog Russo, people that have influenced sports media today, right? Even though a lot of us don't agree with a lot of their takes, they are a big part of why sports media is the way that it is today. Episode 2, Hot Takes and Cold Pizza, talks about how sports media evolved into the sports debate format that's widely used today. You get to see clips of shows that started in the early 2000s, like ESPN's PTI and Around the Horn. Plus, you get to see the rise of Skip Bayless, where he just had a block on Cold Pizza, to launching First Take and ultimately being one of the most well-known sports personalities in America today. They include clips from Skip's awkward interview with Chris Bosh, where they talk about Bosh's last name. And what I found most interesting is that Skip has not changed in the last 20 plus years, backing everything he says with every fiber of his body. You also see how First Take was taken to another level the moment Stephen A. Smith joined, forever changing the world of sports media coverage. There was a clip of Jim Everett, the former quarterback of the Rams, assaulting Jim Rowe on his show. What surprises me is that a lot of athletes keep their composure when they're put in these national TV spots, and they don't overreact when people blatantly disrespect them. And also how much sports and sports debate culture has influenced politics and news. You get to see a lot of that in episode 2. Finally, episode 3, Success and Successors, talks about the sports media landscape today and how it's evolved. Well-known sports personalities like Shannon Sharpe, Colin Cowherd, Cam Ron, and LeBron James, and many, many others have grown their own platforms and launched personal media brands, forever changing the landscape of sports media. Shannon Sharpe talks about launching Club Shay Shay and using his platform to launch his own media company and being in a position where he doesn't have to rely on a network job anymore for money. Cameron talks about how he wanted to talk about sports in a barbershop setting and expand his reach beyond music and sports. Matt Barn talks about wanting to bridge the gap between media and athletes, especially because he was a pro athlete himself and wanted to create a safe space where other pro athletes could come share their personal stories, and the responsibility of elevating the standard of sports media, uplifting and not squashing the competition. Guys, episode 3 is really important, especially if you're doing something like this, like I'm trying to do, and have a sports podcast. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with some Empowering with Positivity. Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Time for Empowering with Positivity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. On July 1st of each year until 2035, the New York Mets have to pay Bobby Bonilla nearly $1.2 million. The reason why is because in 2000, the Mets agreed to buy out the remaining $5.9 million on Bonilla's contract, but decided to defer payments until 2011 with a negotiated 8% interest. Because of this, we celebrate Bobby Bonilla for making one of the smartest sports deals in all of sports history, making over $1 million a year until 2035 when he's 72 years old. Talk about a retirement plan, ladies and gentlemen. Goals. Guys, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Share this with your friends, families, and partners. Make some money with my picks, listen to my sports takes, or just watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power, and if you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching another episode of N1 from the End Zone. I love and appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more.